Well, Donnie, since we had an opportunity to talk last time, a lot's happened. Obviously, an interesting day-night doubleheader down in Southern California, and then a little bit of a wild weekend with SC, and you only get a couple games in, so maybe recap the week. 3-1's got to be a pretty good week for you, though.
Yeah, I mean, Monday was a good day for our club. You played. For me, UCLA is the best team that we've played this year. They've got starting pitching. They've got dangerous offense. They don't swing and miss. They got power arms out of the pen. John's put a really good club together. So for us to play well on Monday and get a win against UCLA and then get on a bus and drive an hour and beat Long Beach State that night, it's not an easy thing to do. So got to credit our kids. We show back up at our place. We opened up, played 6 innings of baseball, good against SC, and I felt good about our energy, the way we were playing, and I think 6th inning we were up 5-1. Next thing you know, they spun it on us, and credit USC for getting a bunch of hits. What our club hasn't learned how to do is be consistent, and we haven't learned how to stop the bleeding. If you look at the box scores and the number of innings people score against us, it's not like they're scoring multiple innings, but they have the big innings against us. So maybe that's our youthfulness, our lack of maturity, being able to slow the game down and stop it. So, losing the game on Friday hurt. The way we lost it, it was a tough way to lose a ball game. Came back on Saturday and won a game, which was good. And then obviously the weird rain out on Sunday. So, there's definitely room for improvement. There's some things we like. It's frustrating to think about us ending 7 through 9 on Friday when the same exact team played on Friday. 18 innings of great baseball. So we just got to find a way. We got to find a way to be consistent, and that's our jobs as a coaching staff, is to instill that in our club, and hopefully that's getting done.
We talked about after you got back from the stretch, you're roughly halfway through, a few games shy halfway through. Given what the conference has done, is it hard to keep things in perspective? I mean, you're not that far off. I mean, you got a couple wins on the road. You haven't been swept. You were competitive at home, obviously. But there's a lot of teams in the conference that are starting to pile up wins. I mean, do you start to look and maybe think this is a 7-8 bid league come tournament time?
Yeah, I mean, you get probably 7-8 bids for sure. Obviously, of the 11, only 10 can go with Arizona State's ban this year. But you look at the schedule. I mean, we've had, we open up the first 2 weekends at UCLA and at Arizona. I think one club's 4th in the country, one club's 5th. Get a game from both of them. Saturday's game against Arizona, we kind of feel like we maybe gave that one away. We just, but that's not fair. Arizona, credit Arizona for taking the game. UCLA, we get beat up on Friday. We take care of them on Sunday and Saturday. It's 3-2 on the 7th, and they just extend it, and they blow us out. But it's almost like, one really tight game and 2 games that go either way. So they go our way and their way. So you look at that and you're like, hey man, we should have won the series against the 4th ranked team in the country, and right there against the 5th ranked. So that should give us some confidence. But then you look at our conference and you don't just feel like you're going to run away with 20 wins. I mean, Oregon just swept Arizona State. First weekend, Oregon State swept at Cal. Obviously Arizona just swept Stanford. So it's just, man, this league is, it's a tremendous league. It's got great players and great teams and great coaches. So it's awesome to be a part of the league. Sometimes it's just a grind to have to live the league that we live in. But I wouldn't want it any other way.
I think you guys have to take some confidence in, though. I think every publication in the country wrote Stanford in for Omaha, and there's a team that, like you said, just got swept by Arizona, a team that you guys probably should have won a series from. And you guys got to think about that being a confidence builder going down the road, don't you?
Yeah, it should, hopefully. There's a lot of lessons to learn there, that you're confident that, hey, you're beating teams on the road that, are sweeping people and things like that. But you also don't let it, go unnoticed that you can get beat by anybody, anytime. USC was playing great baseball, and Utah wasn't playing great, and Utah went in and took 2 or 3 from USC. So it is just, I think Washington took 2 or 3 from Oregon. Oregon goes home and sweeps Arizona State. It's just, man, oh man, it's just a tremendously tough league from top to bottom, and you just have to really, really prepare well. And I'm assuming the teams that are playing well are the teams that prepare well, they practice well, so they have success come game time.
I know we step out of conference, obviously, tonight at Gonzaga and then 3 games with Seattle. And you've talked to your guys a lot about not losing focus in these non-conference games, because at the end of the day, they're just as important as the conference wins when it comes to turning the resume.
I have definitely talked about them, and I think it might be a different game for us than other teams. Maybe Gonzaga's in that same situation we are this year, because they got a really high RPI. They're winning a bunch of games, and they're a good program. But in the past, when you're playing the West Coast Conference teams, their probably focus is a little bit more on their league, because they've been traditionally a 1 or 2 bid league. You got to win your league to get in. Well, that's not so much the case in our league with our strength of schedule and our RPIs, where, you're not going to run out and have a huge record in the pack, just because nobody's going to run away and win 25 Pac-10 games. It's almost impossible to do. So, every time you play in somebody, you're adding to that resume and adding to your win-loss record. So it's a very, very important game to us. And if you look at RPI-wise, Gonzaga has great RPI. Next week we play Portland. They got a great RPI. So Seattle U's got a solid RPI. So we're just trying to win as many games as we can, but we got to learn how to be consistent. And if with the talent that we have, if we can be consistent, the wins will take care of itself.
Talk about some of that talent. I mean, it's got to start with Derek Jones. He's just been on fire. I think he's averaged up right around 400 now with the home runs and the slugging. And just not so much. I think you knew you were going to get out of Derek coming back in terms of a senior guy, a four-year player. Did you expect it to be this good at this point in the year?
Well, maybe not. I just, Derek's had spurts in his career, in his three-year career, that he's played really good. But he's played good from the get-go. But not surprised. I mean, one of the most important guys that I've ever recruited in this program. All he's done is won his entire life. He's just a winner. I mean, Derek wins games. Go back to what he did on the football field and baseball field. Snohomish High School, tremendous athlete, tremendous competitor, and he did that same thing here. And I think he came back for numerous reasons for his senior year. Probably the offer wasn't exactly what he wanted from the Orioles and getting a college degree. But I talked to him, his dad, a little bit about he came here as a freshman and played every day. Took his team to a regional. Sophomore took his team to a regional final, and then last year didn't go as well as none of us hoped. And I think he felt responsible, and that's a guy that's vested. That's a guy that cares about the program. Lots of times you won't have success, and it's somebody else's fault. Well, Derek was one of our better players last year. He's always been one of our better players since he stepped foot on campus. And he had a solid year. Didn't have a great year, but he had a solid year. He could have easily just pointed the finger at a way different direction, but he points the thumb. He talks about himself not doing what he needs to do. So that's a sign of a tremendous leader. And when it comes to the numbers, I just think he's more relaxed. I mean, when Derek was a freshman or a sophomore or a junior, he'd go 3 for 4, and game's over, and an hour later you hear some banging in the cages, and it's him. I think he's learned how to work smarter and not beat himself up, and he knows that baseball's a game of failure, and you're going to fail from time to time, and you just got to get past it. He's got to trust his swing, and he's gotten smarter. I mean, with the pitches, lots of times, it wasn't that pitchers were getting him out; he was getting himself out. And now he knows exactly what he wants to swing at, where he wants to, and what counts he wants to swing at it, and doesn't hurt when they're scared of you. I mean, when you have a reputation like him and done some of the things he has done, I mean, the opposing pitcher knows that, hey, if I miss here, he could hurt me bad. And it probably doesn't hurt that he's got Nabolowitz behind him and he's got Ard in front of him. Those are some pretty good hitters.
How much does hearing you talk about it, it reminds me a lot of Jared Prince and coming back for his senior year, turning down some money. Maybe not as much money as Derek had, but just those inner qualities. You think about him a lot? Yeah,
they both are good leaders in their different ways. Jared was more the leader that'd love you up no matter what. He's gonna hug you no matter what. Derek might grab you by the throat. He's got a little bit different. Derek's he's vocal like Prince, but he's a little bit like Jay Miller. In the past, I think if you were the guy not doing your part, Derek just writes you off. Like, just got no time for it. He's got to go. He's got work to do. Now he's really, really leading, and he's doing some things that are a little bit uncomfortable for him. That's not Derek's way. Derek's not this big vocal rah-rah guy. He lets his actions speak for him, not his words. But he knew that we needed that. Our other seniors, a little bit more mild-mannered, KJ and Tommy, and those guys are doing, Patrick, those guys are doing a great job too in their own way. But Derek's got to be the voice of the club, and I think he understood that. So a little bit like Prince, but also a little different, but same type of results.
And last question, you got some huge contributions, especially Saturday from your freshmen, and I bring it up because I know those guys talked about Derek and how much they've met. And how much is the at-bats and the reps, how much has that paid off so far, but what's it going to pay for you, the dividends in the future?
I hope so. I mean, there's no replacing experience. I mean, those freshmen, Saggy's played a lot, and we didn't expect him to that much. We knew Saggy's going to be a good player, but kind of thought Saggy would be doing what he's doing as a sophomore than he was as a freshman. Same thing with PJ, considering you had two returning starter-type guys with Slaybaugh and Trace, and they've both been hurt, so these guys have had their opportunity. Those guys have been they've been good. They've been really, really good. And I have to remember, too, at times when they do struggle, they're freshmen. Just like the guys on the mound, we win Saturday, we throw 4 freshmen. And I don't figure that out until the end of the day when I read the box score. So I got to probably think about that a little bit earlier. You win a tough game when you throw 4 freshmen and 3 freshmen have 7 hits for you. So it bodes well, but we're not, I told the club yesterday, we're not talking about the future. We're talking about now. There's no Cougar baseball future next year for Derek Jones or Tommy Richards and Patrick Clausen and Kyle Johnson and Drob and probably Taylor R. and Spencer Jackson. Those guys, this is it for them. And I want great things for those guys. And I know those young kids want great things for those kids. Those guys have been tremendous leaders. So, we just want those kids to grow up a little bit faster and probably faster than they can. But our expectations are high for those guys as well as anybody in this program. So hopefully they just keep doing what they're doing. And as a coaching staff, we keep a level head and not put too much pressure on them.
As always, thanks for the time. Best of luck this week.
Thanks a lot.